Start.
Describe indexing DBMS.
Okay. Indexing. Basically, we will use indexing to reduce the input output process. So, like, take an example like simple architecture like CPU. Okay. CPU, then RAM, and then our hard disk. So, if you want to fetch something from database, we have to interact with hard disk, like CPU interact with RAM and RAM interact with hard disk. So if we send something query like if you want to fetch roll number from the hard disk, so basically like if it is in database, if in our database like 10,000 records present, okay, so we have to scan 10,000 times in our database to fetch something, so it will take more time. So reduce the that time, your time complexity, basically we will use indexing. So in indexing, we will use key as a searching point and as a pointer, that is a referencing point. I will explain you key, what is key and pointer in detail. Like in key and hard disk, there are number of blocks. Like if we store, like you take roll number as a records. So each block is always equal. Like we will store 10 roll number in one block, 10 roll number in two blocks, 10 roll number like n blocks are present. Okay. So if we want to fetch data, so what we will do, we will in the indexing always we will take something in sorted order. Okay. So we will take the value from database. Like there are five records present in one block. Okay. So we will take all the one block in our indexing and we will do binary search, because if the something are in sorted order, then we will do binary search. And here time complexity is log 2 to the base n. Like we the time complexity reduced too much. So that is known as indexing. And there are three types of indexing: primary indexing, cluster indexing, and secondary indexing. So basically, primary index is what, if we want to something, if something is in order and is keys, like keys basically like if in indexing everything is unique and in our database everything in sorted order and unique, then we will say that it is a primary index. What is cluster indexing? So cluster indexing basically everything is in sorted order, okay, and in our database we will do indexing everything in sorted order, but it is not unique, like every, so we will take roll number as one, there are in one block there are two, more than like one is repeated more than once, two is repeated more than once, so that is known as a cluster indexing. And secondary indexing is something like if we in our database, suppose we have a student database, okay, where we stored employee ID, sorry, student ID, student name, and roll number. So if we want to something do in a search in a unique way, then we will use primary index or clustering index. But if we will search if I want to search your name, like from roll number or name, then it is not unique. Maybe other suburb is also present. Then we will use secondary indexing. In secondary indexing, there are two types of data present. Like secondary indexing is always unordered, and one is unordered and keys, and one is unordered and non-keys. Like in indexing, we will use sorted order, and one thing more is unordered and non-keys. Like both are in not ordered. So yeah, these three type of indexing.
Indexing can be done on sorted or unsorted both now.
Yes, yes. So basically, in indexing, we will always take unique values and in sorted order.
Uh,
That's why it reduces the time complexity into a binary search.
it's your turn now.
Yeah. So data abstraction in DBMS, and explain the three levels of it.
Basically, it happens in three levels. The upper level is the external schema, or that schema is also known as structure.
So can you
Uh,
start from what is the definition of abstraction?
Abstracting how basically how a user reaches to, or access to the data. It doesn't directly access. He can not. You don't directly access the data that where it is stored. You don't even know where the data is stored, but you just still access it. So that is basically data abstraction. Sorry for this hearing and all. So this is data abstraction. मतलब I am a user. I am accessing a data. I don't know whether the data is stored, whether it's in London or America or in India or Delhi. I just don't know
You
because
don't know the
it,
physical storage
yeah,
where.
I don't know the physical storage where it is stored, but still I'm accessing it. So that's the data abstraction, and it happens in three layers. That is, we can call it schema or structure. First one is the external schema, which uh, which is shown to us. Like if we log in into something like Flipkart or our Facebook or Instagram, the first thing which we see is that external schema. No, it depends from person to person. It can be other for normal users. It can be other for higher priority person. It can be other for the admin. So that view depends on person to person. So that's the external view or external schema. And then next to that comes the uh, basically conceptual schema. Okay, where uh, basically we can say that that's the blueprint of the how we present the data, na? How we enter that's like if we are saying some tables and all. uh, if you are seeing a table, okay, that's one row is name, one column is name, one name column is roll number, one column is address, something like that. But that data is not stored in column wise in the hard disk. No, it's stored like normal files. But we are seeing that in rows and columns. So that concept, how we are going to show that is the conceptual level. That is the middle level. That is the logical level. So that's the middle level, and the last level comes is the internal level, where the or the physical level, where it is stored in the hard disk, which we don't access, and they are interconnected. All the three layers are interconnected. So basically, I prepared like this only data abstraction. If I
Yeah,
am missing out
that's
something,
more than enough.
uh,
So now it's your turn.
it's my turn. So I would like you to finish the all the big questions like keys in DBMS.
Okay. S-
Manish.
So I will start from primary key. So basically in in our table there is always one primary key. Okay. And what is primary key? So primary key is always a unique key, and key is basically used to find the uniquely identify the row in a table. Okay, so basically we will use q. So primary key is unique plus not null. Like if we will create the table, okay, if we will create the table and we will select the primary key, it must be unique. You don't put null over here, over there. Okay, so you have to write something there. Like if we choose our in, like for us example, a registration id is always unique for us. Okay, so there may be chance like we will choose our registration id as primary key. So that is primary key. Now candidate key. Candidate key is also a unique key. Like if we will choose different type of a key, one we will choose primary key and others are a candidate key. The candidate key is also a unique key. So basically it is a minimal subset of a super key. Like super key is what? We will take the many unique key, a combination of all the unique keys. So it is a minimal subset. Like if we take registration plus email ID, that is the super key, then our registration ID is a candidate key. That is a subset, minimal subset of a super key. So that is a candidate key, and you also understand the super key. So what is next is composite key. Composite key, like in a table, sometimes there is not always, sometimes primary key is not always unique. So like if we choose our if we choose our phone number, okay, and email ID. No, no, if we take something like repeat in first column and repeat in second column. So if we combine them both, if you want to choose we have to always choose one primary key in our table, but if we in case not find that primary key, then we will combine two column to make a primary key, and that is called a composite key. So composite key, alternate key, primary key, super key, and one more key is foreign key. Foreign key is very different. It is not used to uniquely identify the row of the key. So foreign key is basically maintains the referential integrity. I will tell what is referential integrity. First, it will maintain the relationship between the two table. Like for example, if we choose like you are Sambhav and your roll number is like 1, okay, and another table where your roll number is mentioned and you are doing code something like C++. Okay, so one is a student table and one is codes table. So how they are relate with each other? Basically, I will take your roll number as foreign key. So foreign key, your key roll number, there becomes a foreign key, and take reference from the reference table. And we know that Sambhav is also doing a course in DBMS course, okay, yeah, C++ course. So that is known as a foreign key. And what is referential integrity? Like in a reference table, like in the main table, student table, if you want to insert something, like you are a new student and I want to insert your data, okay, so I can easily insert your data. And you are doing something course like DBMS in other course table, okay, but if I want to update the data, like if I want to update the data, like your roll number is 22 and I want to update into a 20, so we can't do updation because in reference table there is no such person who are doing, sorry, I'm something doing wrong.
Basically, you have to choose the primary key of one table and you have to relate that primary key to the other table's contents. No, that's the use of
That's the
basically
main use
foreign
of
key.
foreign key, and also maintain the referential integrity. Referential integrity, like if you want to insert, delete, or update in a reference table, we have like we simply insert anything. Like if new student took admission in our college, so we have to insert their data. So we can easily insert their data in a table. Okay. But if you want to delete something, like you are also doing a course, okay, you are also in then your identity is also mentioned in that table. So if you want to delete something, okay, I will if I delete your data, but your data is also present in the that table, that will cause a problem. Like you just left the college, but your data is also present in the library, that's showing that you are doing DBMS course or C++ course in a codes table. So that cause problem. Here updation and deletion cause problem in reference table. And in referencing table, we will, I think, like you can delete easily all the data. Like if you are doing code C++ and you done all the courses, and you done all the courses, okay, so if I think that I can delete your data, and that there is no effect on the main table,
You have to
student
make it
table.
short now.
Huh?
You have to make it short and
Precise.
yeah, precise. It's
So
getting
basically
like a
it maintains the referential integrity. So how you can insert, update, and delete. Yes. Now that's all over all the key.
no, that was not all. It was very. That was a nice explanation, but a big explanation. You could have done it short also, but precise to the point. Good. You made it me clear because I was not clear for it.
But if someone asks what is referential integrity, then you have to explain everything in detail on
Ah,
delete,
yeah, yeah,
cascade, how you can use the cascade things and all.
yeah. Because it was not clear to me. You made it clear to me now.
Okay, yes. So can you explain foreign key now if it is clear to you?
I think that would that would be a waste of time here if we repeat the same answers again and again.
No, just one line.
uh, relation, as you said, na. And what was the other point you mentioned?
Maintains the referential integrity.
Yeah, maintains the revision utility, like deletion and updation after
हाँ, हम basically how
data.
you can update, delete, and insert in a database table. How you can manage,
Uh,
like if you delete something from main table, how you maintain in another table, because all the table are linked with each other. So
mm-hmm.
that is main objective of the foreign.
I
Okay,
will make it more clear after this session
okay,
on personal call. Otherwise, this will get longer, no?
yes. So now it's my turn, na?
Yeah.
So what is sharding?
What is?
Sharding,
Sharding.
sharding.
Okay, okay. Sharding is a very important process in DBMS. No, it is basically sharding means cutting off of small pieces from a large piece, and basically if we have a million data, okay, and we have to access few data,
Like
but
roll number.
yeah, but for accessing those few data in millions, it will take lot of time and it will just waste lot of time, no, and it will also cost us more transactions. So sharding means dividing those data into smaller pieces so that it makes uh, accessibility of data easily. It makes our time fast. It reduces the cost of transaction. So basically, sharding is like cutting off a big part into smaller parts so that we can easily access all those things.
Yes. Okay. Now it's your turn.
Was it enough, or yet it has to be more precise?
No, enough.
It's enough. Okay. So
You
continue with
also
RDBMS.
you also mentioned the advantages along with it.
Uh, continue with RDBMS. Lot of thundering out here in Jamshedpur.
Yeah, just enjoy thundering. So RDBMS,
RD,
Relational
uh,
Database Management System. Basically, it is a software or it works on a relational model. So it basically works on a table. Like maintain the relation. It always maintain the relation between the two table. Okay. So how we can maintain the two table? Or it is always in a structured way. Like it contains the organized collection of information in a structured way. So RDBMS is like that, maintains the relation between the different tables, and it basically there are different type of relational database management system we are using. For this we are using SQL as a query language, and the database management system we are using as a MySQL, Oracle. Yes, that are the example.
so basically, most of the data it's the most commonly used database system we are
Uh,
using today. Okay, so it's your turn now.
for example, IRCTC,
Yes, it is. Most
university.
of the we use in daily lives.
Hmm. Now it's my turn. So types of database languages.
Okay, types of database languages. It starts with uh, uh, D DDL,
Yes.
data definition language. It's basically deals with the structure or definition of whatever table or structure, whatever it can be said. It basically creates a structure of the it is the very first step and basic step we have to do in creating a database. It has many commands in that, which are like create a structure, then alter to make changes in that structure, drop to delete that structure, to drop that structure, that the name suggests. Then it is truncate to remove the whatever we have create data are there in the structure, and then rename the whatever the structure we have made. Then comes data DML, data manipulation language. Unless we have unless there is DDL, we can't do DML, because
Yes.
first we have to create a structure, no, to do manipulations in that. So basically, DDL DML stands for data manipulation language. It uh, basically changes as manipulation suggests, changes the data in that it has select, delete, and alter kind of commands
So
in it.
alter, insert.
I'm sorry. Insert, yeah. Update, insert, and delete and selection. All these are the commands in which we use in DML, and as the name suggests, what function they do. Okay. Then the other thing is data control language, DCL. What DCL does is that provides command who can access those data, who cannot access those data, who can access how much data. These kind of things we do with DCL. Okay, it has two commands, that is grant and revoke. By grant, we grant someone how much data they can access. Okay, that can be different to different users. That can be a little less to me, that can be a little more to you. So that
Yes.
depends on the accessibility. So that is done by the grant command, and the other command is revoke command. By revoke command, we can just take the privileges that are given to you, depending on the situation and depending upon the need. So that are the data control command, data control language, DCL, and those were the commands of them. The others are transaction control language, TCL. And in this, we have commands like commit. If we have a certain steps of operations to do, uh, unless all the operations are done, uh, if all the steps are done, all the operations are done, then we uh, proceed to commit. And once it is committed, all the data are stored to permanent database. Okay, and
Yes.
if one of the operations also fail, then that it will not commit. And the other thing is uh, commit, and the other was rollback.
Rollback.
Yeah, rollback. If one of the operation also fails, if suppose we have 100 operations to perform. Okay, and if we fail on the 99th step also, it won't commit. It will roll back to the first step again. So we have to do all the steps again and again, unless it's completes all the operation and commits.
So almost we have cover all the questions. So now you can ask one
No,
last
no.
question with me,
Okay, I'll ask you acid properties then.
because like we will cover DDL, DML, types of relationships.
DDL, DDML we have already done in this language, no?
Yes. Why we cover that? Indexing cover, abstraction cover, types of
So two
relationship.
questions can be covered which are which are important, that is acid properties and difference between horizontal scaling and vertical scaling.
Yes.
This can be discussed.
Yes. So ask any one question.
So you continue with acid properties.
Okay. So acid property basically tells about the S. First one is acidity. Sorry, atomicity. Atomicity. Indexing. Oh, sorry, isolation. First,
Calm down,
okay.
calm down,
So
calm down.
first I will tell the formulas. What is A represent? A is atomicity, I is isolation, C is consistency, and D is durability. So atomicity is either something to be done or not, like either all or not. If
Yeah,
I will,
exactly.
if I will tell you, for example, like if we do the transactions, okay. So either we will complete all the transactions, okay, then we will complete all the steps after, like in ATM we will transaction, we will, if you want to just withdraw all the money, and after completion with of the withdrawal we will do the like we will commit. After doing the 100th step we will commit, so that we will complete all the step. And if it is, as you say, that if it is fails at 99th step, okay, 99th step, then we have to roll back from the first process. Okay, that is basically the atomicity. And second one is consistency. So consistency basically represents, like, what is what like if we are in a database, okay. So suppose we will take example as a ATM, okay. In ATM, I like if I have to send money in my account, I have 5,000 rupees, okay. And if I send 2,000 rupees, then in my account 3000, and it will add 2000 money in your account. So basically, after the operation and before the operation, it will always be a permanent. So
Yeah,
yeah,
some should be
huh,
consistent before and after the.
before and after. Some should be consistent before and after operation. Like after sending the money and after sending the money, the data will be updated on your account. So and
Some of
that's
both of our accounts.
both of our account. Like maintain the both the things.
Mm-hmm.
If we add all those transaction balance must be balanced and on a permanent basis. So one now the third is isolation. So isolation is like that can we do something in a parallel or a serial, like we use parallel transaction or a serial transaction. Like if we will do something operation in an ATM, in ATM and every person will come in a ATM, we have to stand in a queue. Okay, so we will wait for the person. Like if one person is doing all the operation, after doing all the operation, then we will go in a ATM. So we have to wait for the certain operation. Like if first one is completing all the process, then we will go. So after completion of one process, then we go for the second process. That is known as a serial and in a parallel. I have in a parallel like SBI online banking exam. Sorry, SBI. We will do online transaction. Okay, and there are lots of people doing the same transaction. We don't have to wait in a queue. So we have to do certain multiple operation in in a single go. And what is the advantage of this? The basically the main advantage is that throughput. Throughput is what the number of execution per unit time, and performance is better in parallel execution. But in serial we have to wait for some time. That is a disadvantage of the serial system. And last one is durability. So if we will do something change in a database, that must be on a permanent basis. So like if we will do the transaction, if we update the records, that will must be in a permanent basis. So like if we on our computer, that data is permanent, that is to be stored in a permanent basis. Okay, completed.
Done, done, done.
So now difference between vertical and horizontal scaling.
Okay, horizontal scaling basically means scaling by adding more machines to your pool of resources. That can be termed as scaling out. Okay, and vertical scaling means scaling by adding more power to the existing resource or existing machine. For example, adding more CPU, adding more RAM, and that basically refers to scaling up. So these are the basic differences between horizontal scaling and vertical scaling, I guess.
So can I add more points to?
You go. Obviously, it's open thing.
So
You
like
can.
in horizontal scaling, the cost efficiency of the cost increases,
Okay.
and everything is done on a horizontal scaling. Like we have to increase this, as you say, CPU. We have to increase the storage also. And in horizontal scaling, just we are making the clone of that computer, so we don't have to put extra resources on it. And this scalability is also low. We can easily manage all these things in a horizontal level. That is horizontal
Okay.
scale.
Okay.
So almost
Are
we
we
cover
done?
all this main questions. So
Huh?
now one question more. What is last? What is DBMS? And mention the advantages. Last question
Okay. This is question for me or you?
for you.
Okay, for me. So DBMS is basically software tool that helps us in efficient management of data. And advantage of DBMS are that minimized redundancy and data inconsistency. Okay. Uh, to access data, we don't have to duplicate the data. That's the use of DBMS. That's the advantage of DBMS. It reduces redundancy and data inconsistency. The other one is simplified access to data. uh, a user have to just mention the relation to access the data. He does not have to specify the location of the data. That is simplified access to data. Then it's uh, displaying data in different views, multiple views of data. For example, data can be visible different to me and different to you. It can hide some information from me, and that information can be visible to you. So same data can be viewed as different by different people,
Depending upon the
some
user.
that depending on the user and how much priority that user has. Then data concurrency, a multiple user can access the same data. Then data
Security, privacy,
security and privacy. Only authorized person are allowed to use that data. Then backup and recovery of
recovery.
data. So these are the main advantages of DBMS.
So that's nice talking to you.
Thank you. Same here. Same here.